Chapter 6. Standing before Mr. Ocox. The leaves of the oak trees around Mr. Ocox's oak shielded him from the rain, but Poppy and her father were being drenched. The owl's head, moreover, was pulled down between his wings, while his eyes, enormously wide and unblinking, gave Poppy the sensation that there was nothing she might do or even think of doing which he could not, would not see. To Poppy, he seemed to be pure power and fury. Wanting to look away, she glanced at the base of Mr. Ocox's tree. There lay what appeared to be a mound of pebbles. Gradually, a ghastly realization came over her. What she was seeing was a mound of Mr. Ocox's upchucked pellets, the closely packed and undigested bits of fur and bone from his dinners. The vision made her blood turn cold. Only the sound of Mr. Ocox's sneering voice jolted her back to alertness. "What do you want, Longworth?" the owl demanded, his claws continually flexing on his perch. Longworth, holding cap in hand like an empty bucket, said, "May I wish you a very pleasant evening, Mr. Ocox?" "It's not very pleasant," Mr. Ocox returned with a snarl. "No, well, you're absolutely right there, Mr. Ocox," Longworth replied, straining to sound jaunty. But April showers, as the song goes, brings May flowers, and Mr. Ocox clacked his beak. "Longworth, it's summer. Did you come here to sing me idiot songs, or do you have something important to say?" Well, in fact, I did bring. Hurry up! I've not eaten my dinner yet, and I'm hungry." "Well, yes, of course," Longworth said. "I understand perfectly." Longworth hastily put on his hat, not noticing until too late that it had filled with rain. Water cascaded over his head. With a nervous shake, he fumbled to unroll his speech paper. Before he could get it out, Mr. Ocox's eyes grew bigger. "Who's that?" he demanded as he moved his head about to bring Poppy into better focus. "Forgive me," Longworth said. "I've been rude. This is one of my dutiful daughters. Poppy, step forward. Look up. There's a good mouse. Mr. Ocox, may I introduce Poppy to you?" Prodded by her father, she stepped forward gingerly. All she could see was Mr. Ocox's eyes. She felt not just looked at, but attacked. "Poppy, eh?" he growled. "I think we've already met." "One of my sweetest," Longworth offered. Mr. Ocox ignored him. Instead, he said, "What happened to your nose, girl?" I scraped it." "A close call, I'd say." "Yes, sir." "Little girl mice should be more careful." "Yes, sir." "Do you understand me?" Poppy longed to run away. Longworth nudged her. "Poppy, dear, Mr. Ocox asked if you were understanding him." "Yes, sir, I do," Poppy squeaked with a bob of her head. All right then, Mr. Ocock said. Now be a good little girl and come stand under my tree while I talk to your father. Hating herself for acting so fearful, queasy at the thought of going closer to the mound of pellets, Poppy appealed to her father with a look. Longworth, however, only nodded. Move it! Mr. Ocock snapped. Averting her eyes from the pebbles and pellets, Poppy crept toward the tree, the flag dragging behind her. But when she reached the spot, she was unable to resist the fascination of looking at the horrible mound. Once she looked, she caught sight of something that glittered. All right, Longworth, Mr. Ocock said. Let's hear what you have to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Longworth held out his piece of paper. Now the thimbleful of water, as well as the rain, had drenched it. All the same, he tried to read. Where is Mr. Ocock's great horned owl, ruler of Dimwood Forest, who, out of his kindness and wisdom, protects all members of the deer mice family? Where is the said family of deer mice living in Grey House in return for Mr. Ocock's protection, have agreed to ask his permission whenever they wish to move about? Where is the deer mice family, having grown so great in numbers, need a second place of habitation, so as to maintain and enhance their lives with sufficient food? And Longworth paused to shake the paper. And what? Mr. Ocox demanded. The paper is somewhat wet, Longworth apologized. So is the style, Mr. Ocox returned. Go on. Longworth cleared his throat and continued to read. Where is Mr. Ocox, protector of deer mice, is famous for his kindness, generosity, and compassion. Therefore, stop. Yes, repeat that. What? That line about me. About kindness, generosity, and compassion? Right, that. I like that. That's well written. Yes, thank you. I wrote it. Whereas Mr. Ocox, protector of deer mice, is famous for his kindness, generosity, and compassion. Therefore, the deer mice of said Grey House humbly petition Mr. Ocox to. Will you get to the point? Mr. Ocox screeched in exasperation. I'm sorry. The rain has washed away the rest of my writing. Then just dump it and say what you want, the owl boomed. We humbly request your permission, Longworth finally said. To move? Move? Yes. Why? I said we are too many. We need more food. Where do you want to go? To New House? First, Mr. Ocox blinked. Next, he swiveled his head around, frowning first at Longworth, then down at Poppy, then again at Longworth. Finally, he said, You mean that new place up along the tar road beyond Newfield? Poppy thought she heard something new in Mr. Ocox's voice. She tried to grasp it. Yes, sir? Mr. Ocox hesitated. Well, have you been there? Now Poppy was sure. It was uncertainty she was hearing. Have you been there? Mr. Ocox demanded shrilly. Well, the truth is, Longworth said, my friend, Mr. Yes or no? The owl screamed. Well, no, not exactly, but my friend told me it would make an excellent source of food for half of my family, and Longworth, Mr. Ocox interrupted. I forbid you to move to New House. What? Longworth gasped, flapping the rain away from his face with a paw. The word had all but stuck in his throat. Permission denied, Longworth. You cannot move to New House. But why, sir? Because I said so. But the Grey House area does not provide enough food. It's urgent that some of us move so we can survive. And no new house. Now, I've got a dinner to catch, so you'd better skedaddle. Unless, of course, you want to please me by leaving your daughter. Then, the owl chuckled, I might reconsider. But, Mr. Ocox leaned forward. Hoo-hoo! He wailed in his loudest but lowest voice. The sound exploded over them. Poppy, clapping Paul's ears, ran out from under the tree towards her father, who was still standing there, stammering. But, but, come on, Papa, Poppy urged, trying to turn her father around. We'd better go. With difficulty, she turned him. Longworth, Mr. Ocox called suddenly. Longworth whirled so fast that the thimble fell off his head. Bowing, smiling, he began, You were just teasing, weren't? Listen to me, Longworth, Mr. Ocox cried. I've got two more things to say to you. First, pass the word among your friends that I've spotted a new porcupine around Dimwood. Porcupine? Longworth echoed dumbly. A particularly vicious one, but don't worry, I'll protect you. Second, it's about your daughter there. If you want a reason for my refusal, ask her how she and I met before. Reason? She didn't ask permission to go to the hill. That's why you can't go to New House. Yes, but... Beat it, Longworth. Now. Come on, Papa, we'd better leave. Longworth glanced about for his thimble hat. It had rolled away. It was Poppy who had retrieved it and put it on his head. Resigned, a sagging Longworth allowed himself to be led away. Poppy glanced at her father. All traces of dignity were gone. The wetness that ran down his face was not rain, but tears. Poppy hardly tried to keep the flag aloft, and as they trudged home, she kept stealing looks into one of her paws. In it was clenched something she had pried from one of Mr. Ocox's pellets. Ragweed's earring.